So I gave myself away with the 20 years at Lamar. It's actually about to be 21. But I want to talk to you today just really about the company, advertising as a whole in the out-of-home industry, and really how we've evolved on another level. And I'm going to keep it today really about the topics that we've heard from earlier this morning and this afternoon. I jokingly say if you don't know who Lamar is, you drive blind. But joking aside, 1902, so my role in the 20 years in the company is to basically disrupt a 129-year-old company, keep it relevant, continue to evolve. But most importantly, what I love about these is getting feedback from you, the brands, the agencies, and even the technology companies. So today our theme's really about disruption, experimentation, bold ideas, measurable impact. As opposed to me giving you a dog and pony about Lamar, I really wanted to make it more about some takeaways of what you're going to hear from all the brands today. So again, we're massive, huge company, largest out-of-home company in the US, evaluation around $23 billion. We do $2.3 billion a year. But again, we understand that we have to continue to evolve. So about 14 years ago, we began to hear the story of programmatic. We need to understand programmatic. We need to go where the audiences are. We need to be more precise with our spends. That's what we heard from the brands over and over again. So I went back to Baton Rouge, where our corporate headquarters were, and we put our head down. And we said, okay, how are we going to innovate and evolve into programmatic advertising as another channel? And became very successful. Our friends at Vistar over here as well. We actually owned a small part of that company and made a shitload of money off of that acquisition when it was sold to T-Mobile. So that's another side story. I'm full of tons of stories after. But again, massive company. And it started very small. In 1902, great story, flip of the coin, but most importantly for us, it's scale and size. Again, 500,000 billboards, 35 airports, tons of transit inventory, but our bread and butter is that roadside billboard. So one of the topics today is about building awareness and scale at fast. So oftentimes out of home is thought of and put in this other channel, and my role is to really educate folks to say, look, yes, it is its own media on the side, but more importantly, it can integrate and stand out pretty quickly. I love this slide. It's my favorite internal slide whenever I have arrows thrown in my back on why we're evolving so fast. We're making tons of money. Just chill out, Ian. And I get that often. Look, left to right, where we were in the past, I say it's so easy to be a CMO of a company, right? Newspaper, radio, TV. Not to knock any of those mediums, but they're all dead now. They've all had to evolve quickly, and they're evolved into some amazing things, right? Spotify came out of radio, CTV, Hulu, Disney, Netflix, all came out of traditional TV. And the one thing for Lamar and the out-of-home industry as a whole is we've really evolved quickly and adapted, and we've became a mainstay on why the journey of that consumer. So ultimately for you as the brands, it's about audience, right? It's I need to hit my audience, right place, right time. We heard it a couple of times this morning. But the unique value prop that out-of-home brings is really that location and context. I don't care how many TikTok reels you get, how many Instagram ads you get, et cetera, et cetera. If you're moving throughout your journey as a consumer and you're interacted, whether it's a billboard in an airport or a transit screen, nothing's more contextually relevant than hitting you with that ad at the right place at the right time with a massive, big, bold ad. So a couple of examples here, CPG brands utilizing out-of-home right outside of Walmarts and Targets to really hit that consumer at the last point of interest. And then again, we talk a lot about culturally relevant. I was in Atlanta last week speaking. Yeah, I got you. I got you. My team knows, shout out to Faith Nuttles. We know who's in the crowd. So again, being a part of that culturally relevant. I spoke in Atlanta last week at a Porsche event, and it was all about not trying to make yourself a part of the Taylor Swift brand, and there was massive amount of brands, but it's really how do you stand out? Pringles here, standing out in that moment in the Super Bowl. Yes, everyone watches that Super Bowl ad, but how did you, great job, extend that conversation with Pringles? How do we become a part of that cultural moment? And what we feel sheer size, context, and relevancy out of home does that. And then the biggest thing over the last 4 years, retail media. So again, I put my hat back on, we went back to Baton Rouge, and we were like, all right, how do we become a part of this? So all the logos you see on the screen today, we are now, God bless you, we are now a part of these brands. We are a part of Roundel, specifically where all 4,825 of our digitals within 1 mile radius of every Target, when you buy within the Roundel retail network, as an example, in-app, online, mobile, and store, you now can buy digital out of home within that ecosystem via programmatic. And why that's important is we feel that we're a part and we can hit that consumer when no other medium can, when they're moving throughout their journey, right? The consumer journey is real. It's a massive a part of our brand itself. And we're seeing any brands in here on this, or did we miss that one? Nice. So for us, it's about being bold. It's about being a part of it. And now in the out-of-home industry, we're seeing more and more CPG brands flock towards this space, not just because the creative looks amazing, not just because it's very simplistic in buying, but for these 4 reasons. High impact, it's unskippable, contextually relevant, changing creative based off of time of day, based off of weather, but really proximity to retailers, sorry. And it makes an impact. And I didn't just mock up this target in the background. Like, that's legitimately how close we are to these target locations. And it's imperative, right? For a consumer, we don't really care when and where we're served that ad. It's where is it on my journey and how relevant is it? And how many other times did I see it across other media? And out of home plays a massive important role. This is just a great screenshot to show you target locations in Atlanta and the proximity. Like, the real size is massive, and we get that a lot. Disruptive ideas. I love Luke's conversation earlier this morning, like one of my favorite keynotes of all time, and I've heard a lot of them, but 50% of media impact is creativity. We pride ourselves on being a creative playground, being a massive canvas where you can do basically whatever you want within that. And again, it's not to knock the mobile. It's an important part of our journey as consumers and how we consume media. But the reality of it is where do you want to have more fun creative? Like, legitimately. And if you are going to do creative in the mobile device, because there is some phenomenal stuff in there, how do you continue that conversation onto the largest canvas that's available to you? So another example of contextually relevant, Postmates ran a campaign earlier this year that basically utilized time of day as well as weather. And nothing can be better in my hour and 45-minute Uber from LAX to actually experience this itself here, right? So it's really about that delight and surprise. Talk to me in that moment and use data set, right? We talk about AI. We've been utilizing the last 17 years where we're ingesting weather data to trigger creative in real time. And it's powerful and it's impactful. Test and learn. You guys were going to talk about this later today, but how do we measure? And we get this question often. It's like, I would love to use out-of-home, Ian, but the reality of it is we can't measure. That is evolved in the last 8 years to be completely false, right? So top to bottom, whether it's sales lift, footfall, or brand awareness, we have that ability to measure, and we have thousands and thousands of case studies to kind of back it. This is one here as it relates to retail media and CPG. Walmart and Rascal & Friends diapers. We're looking to target moms, newly birth moms with kids around Walmart, and they programmatically bought, but on top of it, we did a brand lift study with our friends at Accretive and M4 and others, and we're able to give you actual stats and data that look, act, and behave just like the online space. So find our team for more about that. And then metrics matter, right? So defining key KPIs, right? Oftentimes, people don't realize this, but we have that ability programmatically where we're working with third-party data companies. We're capturing more device IDs, anonymous device IDs, than any other media. And we know that that's important to you as a brand. And then working with third-party companies like LiveRamp and other, and then have that starting point be the out-of-home media, Lamar Advertising, and then retarget them across mobile, social, and online. And that's powerful. So last few slides here. Why Lamar? Why out-of-home? Unmatched reach, cutting through the noise. I love the scroll, the doom scroll, as I tell my wife, and then she shows me how long I've been on my mobile device, and we go back and forth with that. But again, how do you stand out? And a handful of stats, 79% of advertisers, these are agency buyers, will recommend digital out-of-home in their media plan in the next 12 months. That's significantly larger than it was 2-3 years before. That number was 25, 30% at max. But they see the value, they see the power of measurement, and they see the power of that true omni-channel approach of that consumer being hit with that ad at different points and times a day. And we now fit into that ecosystem. Last stat, because stats make you smart. I'm not British, and I don't have the British accent, but 53% of consumers trust out-of-home as their source of media, and 50% of those consumers truly believe the message that's shown on digital. So very powerful, very impactful. And shameless plug here, we have a podcast called Digital and Dirt. So John's been on it, which is why he talks so highly of me. But we've had a lot of major brands and agencies, technology companies. It's actually 4 years old now. It's just an idea. So if you get a random LinkedIn from me or I beg you to be on the podcast, don't think, I don't know who that guy was, but fun times. But again, very thankful for the team here at MediaPost and everyone here. Enjoy your coffee.